Navigating through life means that we've all judged and we've all been judged. That's part of being human. But have we ever really thought about why we do this and what judgment actually is? It seems like judgment is such an obvious thing. Why even take a look at it? But it's my judgments that have given me insights into the most profound truths. I find that when I take a deeper look at things that seem so obvious, I always discover that there's a new way of understanding something, a new way of looking at something. And all change is a change in perception. So if we can look at things differently, our life can change. In this video, I'll discuss what judgment is beyond the obvious, why we judge, what happens when we judge, and lastly, the incredible call to action that judgment offers. Projection is perception. I remember years ago when I first read A Course in Miracles, one of the things that hit me like a ton of bricks was this statement: projection is perception. And the more that I read, the more it wowed me because it rang so true. It made me realize that everything that I'm seeing is everything that I'm projecting. And judgments are limitations. Judgments are seeing a small part of something. When we judge someone or something, what we're doing is we're taking a very small part of the whole picture and we're analyzing that, we're criticizing that, we're having an opinion about that, and we're limiting that person or that thing. And by doing that, we have a very skewed perception of what is. We're not really seeing the true reality. What we're seeing is our projection. So, this is why projection is perception. So, whenever we see something in somebody that we don't like, that's there because we've projected ourselves onto them. Now, the thing to understand about perception is that it is inherently judgmental. This is inescapable because this is how perception works. Perception, the way that we see through our physical eyes, is rooted in duality because it's part of the physical body. When we're not in physical form, we're still perceiving, but we're not using the faculty of physical perception. We're using intuitive perception, which is far beyond the perception that we use with our physical eyes. The other thing to note about judgment is that all judgment creates separation. It's a rejection of whatever it is that you're looking at. What we're doing is we're separating ourselves from that person or that thing. So it's limiting. When we judge, we're limiting. We're limiting ourselves. We're limiting the other person or the thing or the experience. And we're creating this boundary for ourselves. Because nothing is one-sided. We've all done things that we've been ashamed of or that we didn't like, and we've all done really great things. So we have both. Once we realize that everything that we're seeing in our life is simply a projection, then we can start to look at what it is that we're holding inside of us that we're projecting. This is why I'm such a big advocate for letting go, because letting go isn't actually about getting rid of things. It's about integrating all of these fragmented parts of yourself. It's about being with things. It's shifting out of a state of becoming into a state of being. Because whenever we're judging things, whenever we're fragmented or separate or rejecting aspects of ourself or other people, we're always placing ourselves or other people in this perpetual state of evolution, of becoming, of needing to change, of needing to get better, right? It's this whole mode and mentality of self-improvement. But the truth is that our true nature is a state of being. There is nothing that we need to actually improve. There's nothing that we actually need to change other than our realization of this. That's why self-realization is one of the most important things that we can realize, is our true self, is understanding what it is that we actually are. Because when we do that, we remember what I am is beingness, is isness. So we can let go of holding on to stuff. Because when we hold on to stuff by resisting something, by pushing it away, by avoiding something, by attaching to something, something that we like, we attach, we hold on to it, we're in a state of judgment because we're not accepting what is. So the opposite of judgment is acceptance, is letting go, is being, is allowing yourself to become whole again, to remember the truth of what you are. Judgment exists in time. When we're in a state of awareness, of real presence, there is no sense of time. You're in that timeless, purely aware state. You're not bringing all of your past with you or projecting the potential future into the current now moment. So it's really this timeless existence. But judgment always has to do with a past event, some potential future event. It's never rooted in the now. The problems with this, besides the obvious, is that it pulls you away from your true nature. It pulls you into identification with your ego. You're never satisfied with what is. This is the problem with self improvement, which I know sounds contradictory because one would think that that's what my channel is about. But what I'm really trying to do is help people remember the divinity that they are, is help people let go of all of the junk that they're holding on to inside of them so that they can remember who it is that they really are. When we release our judgments, what happens is that we get into a state of being, and it feels so good. It really does. It really feels good for you, and it feels good for the other person because nobody likes being judged. Nobody. I don't care who they are. It's such an unpleasant feeling because it feels like this violent separation. I know that whenever I've felt judged or whenever I've heard people shit talking about me, it can be devastating because nobody likes to feel separate from anybody else. What we're really wanting is to feel loved, is to feel one with other. All judgment is self judgment. The spiritual teacher that does this so well is Byron Katie. She uses inquiry to understand where our judgments are coming from. And at the end of every process that you go through with someone, what they end up realizing is that all of the judgments that they had about other people were just really about them. So it's fascinating when you begin to realize this because you can listen to everything that everyone is saying to you, and every single judgment that someone has about somebody else is really about themselves. Whatever it is that we don't like in someone else, it's because we're harboring that within us, which is why projection is perception, because we're trying to get rid of that. And the more we realize that this is what people are doing, the more they're telling you about who they are and where they're at. And of course, this is not an opportunity to use that to judge somebody, but we can use that as an opportunity to remind ourselves where we're doing that in our own lives. What is it that we're judging? What is it that we're holding on to and harboring and projecting out into the world that isn't really the true reality of what is? All judgment is unconscious. When we're judging something or someone, we are in a state of unconsciousness. Because if we were fully conscious and aware, then we wouldn't feel the need to judge anything or anyone. Because judgment is a lack of awareness. It's falling below awareness and getting into a state of reactivity. Because judgment is of the ego, because judgment is separation, the fastest way to separation. So, another wonderful thing about our judgments is that it's an opportunity for us to realize where we're unconscious. Where is it that we've fallen prey to unconsciousness? Where are those areas in our life where we need to bring more consciousness to those judgments so that we can sit in the seat of true self? Good old shit talking. This is something that we've all done, and I feel that it's really important to talk about this because shit talking or gossiping, basically saying something about someone that you wouldn't say in front of them. That's how you know it's shit talking. We do this for a number of reasons. One of the reasons we do it is because it bonds us to the person that we're shit talking with. So those two people are in cahoots and they feel very bonded because they're putting somebody else down. But there are so many better ways that you can bring presence into your relationship and this feeling of connectivity other than shit talking. What we're doing is we're solidifying the judgments within us by judging other people. The more we shit talk, the more we strengthen these feelings that we're harboring inside of us, the more we're limiting ourselves, the more we're boxing ourselves into that little self imposed, confined victimhood state. And we're not allowing ourselves to have real freedom. Judgment's call to action. Now, I want to get into this incredible call to action that judgment offers us. It's such a gift. Everything that's seemingly negative in this world is really a gift. It's really an opportunity for us to remember our divinity. And the call to action with judgment is to be able to look inside of yourself at those judgments through introspection and to be able to see where it is that you're not allowing yourself to love. Because that's the call to action is love. You have to look at all of those little places, all of those little cracks and crevices where these judgments are hiding. We have to bring them out, take a look at them, be with them, and integrate them by loving them, by parenting them, by realizing that what judgment is asking of us is to find love, to find a greater capacity within ourselves to love, to express that love, to extend that love, to be that love. That's what judgment's asking of us. The best way to do this is to realize first that every single thing or person or situation that you're judging is a judgment that you're holding within you about yourself. It's like that saying, if you spot it, you got it. That's the first understanding that needs to happen is we have to realize, oh, this is something that I actually have. I actually do this. This is a problem that I'm resisting and projecting. Then the next thing that we can do is to broaden our perspective. Because what's happening when we're judging is we can think of it like we're looking through a peephole. And what we're seeing is a very small little part of what's going on. But if we broaden our perspective and have a much fuller picture of what is, then we can begin to let go of these judgments. Really good personal example of this is when I had my special needs daughter. The doctors told me that she was never going to talk, she might never walk, she'll be in diapers for the rest of her life, and I'm going to have to take care of her indefinitely. And I immediately judged that situation as bad, right? I thought, well, having a typically developing child is a good thing. Having a special needs child is a bad thing. And the minute that I judged her and the situation as bad, what I did was create this skewed perception of reality. Because in reality, she's beautiful, she's perfect, and she's been one of the greatest gifts in my life. I mean, I wouldn't be who I am today without her. I mean, nothing has given me a bigger spiritual kick in the ass than my special needs daughter. She constantly brings me back into the present moment. She's constantly teaching me how to be in that state of being, how to let go of worrying about the future and the past, how to be grateful for everything that we have, for all the beauty and all the love that is all around us, but that we're blind to because of our judgments. The more we let go of our judgments, the more we find that what we're left with is love. What we're left with is all of the love that we have to give. We have no idea the tremendous amount of peace and love that we would feel if we would let go of our judgments. When everything that we keep inside of us is loving, then there's no room for fear, and then we're free. I love you all so much. Until next time, remember to let go. Let go of trying to be anything other than the truth of what you are.